when you're working with markup, these are the things you got to consider. There's the markup language, and then there's the interpreter of the markup language. The markup language is HTML. The markup interpreter is called, who said it? Browser, right? The browser interprets the HTML and says what to do with it. Got the idea? The markup is Microsoft Word proprietary word processing markup. The interpreter is Microsoft Word, right? The language is what the interpreter reads. Microsoft Word reads Microsoft Word proprietary markup. Browsers read HTML. The markup is XML. The interpreter is
us.
You. Good. 2 points.
Ooh. Yeah.
Good. Do you explain why you say that? Why are you the interpreter?
Because we have all the freedom to write that language. So therefore, we are the ones that are interpreting it and then telling people, if I choose a tag that says pen, and I tell Matthew it's pen, I'm the interpreter, I'm telling him what it is.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. I should give you 2 more points for a really good because that's what's going on. You are the interpreter. I'll be with you in just a second. With rights come responsibilities. You have the right to create any tag you want. You have the responsibility to write the interpreter that knows what to do with that tag. Okay, so with no rights come no responsibilities. You have no right to create an HTML tag, and therefore you have no responsibility, and you can blame the browser when there's a problem. Right? Oh, I wrote the H2 tag, it doesn't display right. That's not my problem. That's, that's Firefox's problem. That's not my problem. But when it's the course tag and it doesn't display correctly, problem comes right back to you because you're the interpreter. Yeah, Josh.
I guess I wanted to make an objection to Barry's comment. I mean, I want to teach.
You just want one of her points.
I want to teach my software to be my interpreter because it's going to be pretty tedious if I have to, I don't know, manually or analogically have to interpret all somebody else's XML tags. I want to automate that process.
That's why you invented HTML and created the browser. Right?
But for my XML.
For your XML, it still comes back to you. Right? You'll see this, you'll see me pulling my hair out over this workbook application. Why? I created a set of XML tags, and I'm responsible for the interpretation and use of those XML tags. There's nobody else to blame but me. Yes, I created this sophisticated program to help me out, but when the sophisticated program breaks down, it's me that it all comes back to because I'm the inventor.
I guess I'm thinking, I mean, conceptually, I'm just thinking of whatever's doing the display, or whatever's software is running to process the data is doing more interpreting than we are.
Yeah, okay. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And so, in the end, I am the interpreter, but I try to encode my interpretation into some application so that I'm not sitting there trying to look at everybody's tags and figure out what to do with it. Right? I automate the interpretation. But I think the deeper point here is beyond the automation, it's you who created that automation. And so it's still you who are responsible for the interpretation of those tags and what happens when some tag is used and what the meaning of that tag is. Just like we said before, and this is kind of the answer to your question maybe from before, if I create a lie tag, then what? So there's a lie tag. And the lie, as far as I'm concerned, the interpreter, means that this statement is false. But so what? I have to then turn around and write a program that says, oh, when you see a lie tag, put this blinking red arrow down to it. Right? So all that is an automation of my interpretation of the tag. And it's still up to me, if that lie tag doesn't work correctly, to fix it. Whereas when I use a standard markup that is kind of commercially available and is not my responsibility, when I use a tag, I have the reasonable right to say, I used the tag the way you told me to and it didn't work. So what you're saying is actually true, that I write an automation routine to try and encode my understanding and interpretation of those tags. But in the end, it is me who is responsible for what those tags mean and what to do when those tags are invoked. That work?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's get on because I want to have some time for you guys to work today too. Okay. Syntax is going to try to trip you. Don't get baffled by the syntax. Focus out. Go out from the syntax and say, what's going on here? What are we trying to accomplish? what is the syntax trying to have happen? And so just because the syntax looks really weird, don't stumble over that. In just a second, we're going to look at some pretty weird syntax. I'm going to skip this one because it's not that important. We talked about nesting. Nesting is tags going inside of other tags. And white space, we talked about that as well. White space is for you, it's not for the computer. Okay, so this is what I'd like to do. We're finished with this presentation. Yes. I'd like to now